Welcome to Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. In this video, what I want to do is finish off my coal power plant here. The problem I've got is you can see I need 155 steel and I don't have enough money to actually buy all the steel. So what I'm going to have to do is spend some time building that steel up to a point where I can complete the next stage without actually going bankrupt. So that's going to be the focus of the video, but before we get into that, I want to talk about a couple of things. The first thing is that on the 19th of August 2020, if you're watching this in the future, the seasons update was released to the stable branch. So we are now playing in the stable branch. We're no longer in the test environment. Now I've had one crash since I've gone over to the stable branch. I'm hoping that moving to it isn't going to actually destabilize this save game. Now, for any of you who are playing an existing playthrough in the stable branch, be aware that the winter will not appear until you start a game, because it has to be enabled as part of the game profile. And I think what Free Division have done is anybody with an existing playthrough or an existing save game is probably the better description, that is not switched on. So effectively, if you're in the stable branch with an existing playthrough, what will happen is the game will carry on forward. Now, whether that will change the farming cycle, I don't know. Anyway, I think that is enough to do with the update. There's one other thing I want to say is a big thank you for your comments and feedback, especially the comments related to about ways of improving my economy. And I've had a suggestion that what I really need to do is put in an oil refinery and a steelworks. And I've been looking at this area here, and I think this might be a good place to put a small oil refinery in, so that we can make some more of our own fuel, but more importantly, make some bitumen. And then what I'm going to have is the main town here. And what I'm thinking is to extend this out this way. And I think I would like to put my steelworks over here. So that is something that's going to be going on. But of course, it's going to take a little while to get there. I really want to get my coal production up and running as well, so I need to get my town built. So many things to do, not enough money to go. I think we're just going to let the game start running now. The format for this video is probably going to be me doing something and then cutting out and letting things build up, because what we got to do is start to increase the amount of steel in here. So we've got 181 tons. I think what we're going to do is just come over here, just keep an eye on this open hole truck, and I'm just going to increase that a little bit. So what we're going to have to do is buy the steel in stages. Now, there is one problem over here which I want to fix as well, which is I've noticed when I was checking before the video that this area here is not finished. That would be a little bit of a problem when the power station comes online. The other thing I also want to do, because winter's coming up, so my overall productivity is not going to be brilliant. What I want to do is take advantage of the winter to actually get the research done for components, because if I'm going to build a steel mill, I would like to build a component plant next to it, which would be another way to keep down my costs. And the other thing I also want to do, we're going to have to put a road through here, is because we can't start building the power station just yet. But what I would like to do is just asphalt this section of road here, and we're just going to assign you to here, because as part of my town out here, what I would like to do is asphalt all the way through this main road here, all the way out to over here. So that's something else I would like to do. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is over here is I've got a power line through here, and once the power station is finished, I'm going to have to adjust my power lines here. And this is an example of how mistakes can build up when you are building everything from scratch. You can see here, this power line comes off of this terminal here, and I've also got these two here that come off of here. The trouble is that if I switch off the imports, these will lose power, because power I generate will not move through this terminal to this one and this one. So what we're going to have to do is readjust this area here so that I can power my city from the the power station. The other problem I've also got is this area here, in the sense that this is a little bit overloaded, so I'm kind of half thinking about bringing in another power supply in over here from up there. So just check the steel. I need to keep an eye on the steel. So we're up to 87 tons. Money's holding up fairly well at the moment. I mean, at the moment we've still got the crops coming in. Yeah, so we've got plenty of crops. I'm kind of a bit inclined to get you running again so I can make a bit of extra cash. Now, another thing that I've learned, and this is one of the amazing things about this game, is that when you watch other people play on other channels, you pick up tips which never occurred to you. And this is something I was completely unaware of. I've set my farm up here with, if I come in here and show you, the covered holes are all in the inside the farm here, collecting the crops which are out here. I think we've nearly got all of them. I think there's probably a little bit more out. I was a bit there. But it seems what you can do is put the covered holes into a distribution office here, and then what will happen is the trucks will go out and collect the crops without actually having the covered holes inside of your farm, which I think is quite useful. But there is a limit on how many fields you can add to a distribution center. What you'd have to do is build a specialized distribution center to do it. So the money's rolling in. The truck's parked up again, so just going to just increase him a little bit more, get him to go out and buy some more. Now, while that's going on, there's something else I want to think about, because just if I come to the map here, and I'll just throw it big like that. See, up over here, this area here, is a uranium mine. So what I'd like to do is get out here and actually access that uranium mine. I mean, it's going to be very much a long-term project, but one of the key elements of this game is you do need to think ahead a little bit. The follow-on from that is that I do want to get some power into here. So what I want to do is just do a little bit of planning here. Here comes the winter. Is if we come to the infrastructure, and of course the winter means that it's going to be fun. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you there. In many ways, winter is the time for planning. We're just going to put that there, and we'll just put this road up. Great, there. What was that? It's a gravel road. Yeah, we got loads of gravel and it's winter. My crews aren't going to be doing that much. We can always do that there. And then and now the reason I put that in is that at some point I may want to send power that way, and by putting a spare power connector here, I can run off a main grid in this direction. At the same time, we'll come over here and find the power transformers. I think there's a small one. Yeah, I think that's the one I'm looking for. So if we put one over here, I think this time we will build this with a mud road like that. And what we'll do is come here, and I want to I mean, we could put that smack bang in the middle there, or we could just put this over here like that. I mean, that should cover that, all that area there. What are you doing up here? Are you still after? There shouldn't be any crops. Oh, there's a little bit of crops there. 0.52 of tons of crops. Now, this won't need that much in the way of power. Let me just come here, so we can probably connect you up with. I'm just going to hook you to there, up to there. We'll hook you to there. Just love the snow. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect these up with the full powered 18 megawatts, because this is going to connect to my nuclear power station, which I will build eventually. Oh, it's just going to be a bit of a pain. We obviously want to take full advantage of there, and then what we'll do is we'll queue through to there. I mean, I'm not going to be building these in the near future. I just want to plan that out as we go. So how are we doing for steel? We're still holding up at 86, 106 tons at the moment. My truck is back into here. How's the fuel situation? I don't want to. I mean, I'm selling my fuel at the moment, which is slightly a bit of a problem. So we should just have the 2 vehicles here now, working for the distribution office, supplying the crops. Okay, let me just check the asphalt. That's been built. That's good. I mean, I don't really want to spend too much of my money on that at the moment, because the big factor here at the moment is here. Right, let's just come down here. I want to push this up. I think we'll go to 60%. I need to get to 150 something to finish this. I need 155 still. We completed this bit here, which is good. So that's ready to go. We're running at 96,000. Fuel's getting a bit low. I think we'll have one more trip with the fuel, and then I'm going to send this guy back to the depot, because I don't want to run out of fuel. So we're just going to... This is your last fuel run. I mean, the trouble is, if I didn't sell the fuel, we wouldn't have the money to buy the steel. Come on. So I'm just going to pick you up and send you to... Oops. There. I got the 2 fuel trucks in here, and my fuel network is getting a little bit big, so I think what we'll do is we'll send you to there, and you can help with, especially in the winter, to keep the gas stations fully fueled. I mean, it takes extra time, so okay, those crops dropped. How are we doing for steel? So we're up to 130 tons now, but we're still importing. So I've actually completed my research. I think I wouldn't mind doing the chemistry as well. I can get the research done, then that's it. It's done and it's out the way. We built that road there. We could shove in a little bit more tarmac. There's only a short section there. I think we can just assign you. I'd like to get down to here, and then eventually we'll tarmac all the way through here. So just need to keep the crews busy. What's the population like? The population is reasonably good. I mean, deaths are exceeding births at the moment, but that's understandable. It's winter. Lifespan is there. I don't think anyone's complaining. Just check the food situation is pretty good. So still holding at 95,000. The reason I don't want to drain the cash out is simply down to the fact that the 157 steel here, we still got to get another 50 odd steel while that's actually being built. That's something we need to consider. But beyond that, things are looking pretty good. Let's just get rid of that. So we're just going to wait for this truck to get into here. And then we're going to tell you to pick up from there to there. So you're going to load crops there and unload there. Okay, let's get back to the steel. 154 tons now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to push this up another 10%. And I think it's now time to activate the job now. So what we're going to do is come here and we're going to assign you to both offices. And it's definitely 155 tons. So we just want the where's the open hole? Right, this guy, what I want is this one to make a delivery. So you up here, we're down to 83,000. And right, what we're going to do now is we're going to drop this right down to about 30 tons for the moment. That means that when the steel's being delivered to the power station, this the depot will not be triggered. In fact, I think what we'll do is we'll drop you down to about 30%, and 30% of 32. In fact, we could probably take that to so that 30% of 65 is roughly about 20 tons. So what will happen is this will keep being emptied as the steel's moved to the power station, and once it gets below 30, we should then have the money to replace that steel, to build it up to get the last 57 tons, I think it is. Anyway, that's the way it's going to work. Now it's going to take a little while to get that operational. So this is built. I think we can go with another run of asphalt. I'd like to get this bit finished before, so that I can get rid of that temporary road. So we're just going to, and hopefully the money will build back up again. As you can see, we're down to 71,000, and oops, and it looks like we probably need to seed in some more pine trees over here. So we're just going to come in here, just put in some more, just to keep my forestry process going. And maybe we'll just drop a few more in here like that, just to keep everybody nice and busy. I want to check here, just make sure my coal deliveries are still going well, and overall things are looking pretty good. We're keeping this going, keeping the fuels flowing in here. I think making these footpaths down here has made a big difference, especially in the winter. And now if you actually watch here, the people are walking faster than the trucks. So like, if you come in here, I mean, he's doing 21 kilometers an hour, but these people are walking down this gravel path here into this area actually quicker by looks at it. I mean, it could be just the animation. Overall, things are doing okay. Let's have a quick look here. We've got advanced engineering and semiconductors. I think that's enough research for the moment. I mean, this guy will go and deliver some bricks. Actually, let's have a look at our economy. The last month we made 12,000 because we've lost money now because we've been buying steel. So, but I mean, our exports aren't bad. We've exported some alcohol, boards, some cement, and our imports. You can see the big ticket item there is steel. It's 19,000, and of course we've also had to buy some fabric. And I think last month Again, you can see that the big item was steel, 25,000. That's why we really need to build a steel mill. Of course, because it's winter, it's taken a little while for the concrete to come in as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut the video here and just let this build up, and I'll be back once we start to move towards the next phase. So I'll see you in a minute. Welcome back. I'll just give you a bit of an update. We've got our tower crane working. You can see we've now got all the steel put into the construction site. The problem at the moment is actually concrete, and what's actually happening over here is we're getting steel delivered. It's draining away my money. So what we're gonna have to do is just wait a little while. This guy's sat with some steel on his truck at the moment, but it's not a problem because that is actually full, and we got a little bit of while to go. So what I'm going to do is let my money recover. But the other thing I've been thinking about is year 9.6. These are all 9.6 trucks. So what I'm thinking is we're going to send you to here because I've got a bit of spare space. And then what I have an idea is what we're going to do is put you onto the big fields. I think this is a big field as well. So just find, that's a big field. That's a big field. That's a big field. That's a big field. So we got these kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big fields here. And so what I'm thinking is I'm going to add them to this one, and this one, like that. And then what I want to do is put you into here. Once this truck is in here now, so I want you to unload there, crops, and then from the big fields I want you to pick up crops. So the idea is that what should happen is that when these big fields get ready for harvest, that truck should be able to help the other trucks in here to bring in the produce from these big fields. Well, that's the theory anyway. We'll give it a go. So we're down to 72,000. I really would like that money to build up a little bit more before we do anything. Is this finished? Yeah. So I think we can now take out this link road. So they can now come up through here. And that means we got tarmac down to here. And what I want to do now is tarmac these big sections here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut the video again, and I'll be right back once we make more progress on the coal power plant here. Welcome back. You can see we're now on the 22nd of February 1968. The winter is just finishing, and just to give you an update, we are now just processing the pouring concrete stage, and hopefully what should happen now is the process should speed up a little bit now. The snow has gone away, and over here I'll just show you, we've got 57 tons of steel in here. Now what I've done is dropped it right down so that when they start drawing the steel on the next phase, that will not trigger a massive expenditure of new steel being imported. As you can see, I'm down to 78,000 rubles, and what I've actually been doing is selling fuel again. I mean, at the moment the fuel's holding up. I'm a little bit worried about the amount of crops I've got left. So I think we're gonna give this truck one more run, and then we're gonna have to send him back to the depot because I can't afford to export all my fuel. So we'll just let him go one more turn. And of course, now we're out of the winter, you can see we'll get trucks now. We'll be delivering the other goods, which should actually speed the process up. And we're just going to send you back to there. So I've got some spare trucks set up for my various production lines. The other thing I've also did off camera is I've put the storage depot back in here. What I'd like to do is when I start producing fuel and bitumen, we'll store the bitumen in here, and then what we'll do is we'll sell the surplus So what we'll do is we'll just build in and connect this up. But I mean, could build this, but it requires mechanical components, and at the moment I'd rather hang on to as much of that as possible for this production line here. And we're getting through the concrete slowly. I mean, the money's building up. I would like to start actually asphalting out here. I suppose I could push a little bit. So maybe we'll do the next. Oops, it's only that far anyway. So we'll just. So I want this to be moving forward, but at the same time, I'm just got to keep an eye on that cash. So I think we can afford that. I mean, how much bitumen have we got stored in here? Yeah, we got a fair amount. And how much asphalt does this need? Needs 54 tons. In fact, actually, I could do a little bit of planning out here. Let me just trim this back. Because what I'm thinking is we'll do it with gravel roads. Because if I show you here, what we need to do is get through here to get to the oil over here and the iron ore. So what we're going to need is road and rail coming through here. So what I'm thinking is maybe let's try. Okay, we can't actually. So we're just gonna have to go like that. The plan I've got is that we'll have the town in here. We'll probably level off this area here a little bit because, yeah. And then what we'll have out here, let me just put the wireframe on so I can see what the. Yeah, we got this big mound here. I think I'm gonna have to get rid of this mound because what I would like to do is have a steel mill here with a component plant. And I'm pretty sure we've got some more coal mines up here. Let's have a look. Yeah, we've got a coal mine up here. And what we'll do is we'll bring coal down from here to feed the steel plant. I don't want to mix the steel plant with this area here. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment. But we're going to have to level through here, aren't we? Because we're going to need a big area here because what I want is to be able to send workers to the steel plant. I don't want the steel plant so close to the city as to cause pollution. But at the same time, I want this to be a pretty big city. So maybe we'll just come here. In fact, what I'll probably do is just get a datum through here. This is pretty level, so we kind of level this area out a little bit. Say something like this. In fact, we could probably do it with the steel plant actually, come to think of it. Then that would give me an idea of how things fit together. It's not there, it's in here. This is going to be a pretty big building. So if I use this to create a level area here, yeah, that is probably not the best building, but we know this is now the center, so I'll just level through here. Because of course another thing I would like to do is bring the rail track round the back here as well. So, because eventually the rail will run out this way. But what I would like to do is to be able to have the actual track connected to the back of the steel mill. One that once we get the connections out here, we can bring in the raw ore, or at least very much the processed iron. And what we can also be able to do is use the train to export any surplus steel. Well, that'd be the idea anyway. I mean, that's a long way down the road, but we're just gonna keep in this area in. This is going to take quite a long time, isn't it? I must admit, roads always seem to be a bit quicker. Right, we've now got a datum that way, so let's just get through to about there. So I mean, I don't know if it's just the visual effect, but roads do seem to just cut through to here on the grounds here. Because we're only going to need it dead level where the actual steel mill is going to be. So we can just cut through here. Maybe just cut across a little bit like that. It's gone a bit too fast, a bit too ambitious. In fact, I think what I wouldn't mind out here is a construction office. So we don't want to get there. Yeah, let's do that. Well, we're going to need a gas station out here. So, because we're going to do a lot of building out here. I think if we put a gas station here, and then we'll put a construction office out here as well. Can't build. Okay. Because of course you always need a gas station next to a construction office. And then that means that when we're building this out here, where this would be our primary builder. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, you're rolling, so you're nearly there. Okay, we're down to 28 still. We've got 52 still. It looks very much like we're bringing the steel in from here. Is it? Yep. Oh no, we still got 57 still here. So this is still running quite well. Right, while that's going, I'm just going to do a little bit more work over here. In fact, I wouldn't mind trimming off this area here so that we can, yeah, if we trim off this area here. I mean, I'm working very much on the limits of the, I mean, if we can, say we can trim this through here. No, that's creating a bank. I don't want that. Let's just cut this back here. So what I could do is actually let's just work on the rail line as well. Sorry that I'm jumping around everywhere, but I feel sometimes that's the way the game actually plays out. So if we put in electrification, oops. And what we're going to have to do is bring this out under the power lines like that. And then what I'd like to do is probably branch the track that way a bit and maybe this way a bit. So can we get that through there? Maybe will you run parallel there as well? Yep. And then what I do is running. That's not bad actually. It's nice and level through here. So now the fun starts. I had a feeling you wouldn't do that. So what we're gonna have to do is I'd like to be able to run a rail track down into here, so maybe if we're using passengers, let's close that a bit. But it's almost like we need a cutting through here. Let me just go back to roads. I'm just going to come back and take a look at this. Okay, we're down to 52 tons of steel. So we're now on the final stage of this power station. So what I'll do is, again, I'll just cut the video here and I'll be right back when this is finished, or nearly finished. Welcome back for what probably will be the last time in this video. Well, we're now right on the edge of getting this coal power plant finished. You can see we've got all the steel we need. We've got mechanical components. It's just a question of running out the last few remaining days. Let's give a bit of an update over here. Is we've got a tiny amount of steel here, but you can see my cache is a little bit low. And if I turn off the wireframe See here, the crops are now growing. We've still got a little bit more processing out here to do. They're out here again trying to get this area. I don't think this one hasn't been allocated, so we're nearly there from that perspective. Over here, I've leveled off most of the area here. We'll just have a quick check. Let's see how many. We've probably got a few more days. I can lay out the rest of the rail track here. So what we're going to do is just come here and again, whoops, go on connections. And what we're going to do is we're going to run. Probably going to run you through to about here, and run you alongside like that as well. What I want to do is run. Actually, let's do this side first. And what I want to do is run you through to maybe about there, like that. And we're going to run this track alongside it. This is going to be my main line. Now I do have a problem here in the sense that I'm now getting very much outside the range of the constructor. You can see there. So I think that's about as far as we can get with our main line at the moment. The only other thing I'm kind of thinking is that in case I forget, what I would like to do is run a secondary branch line out like that. And again, that would be heading in the direction of the NATO border and my power station. I think that is going to be my main line. So what we'll do is we'll just come in here and we'll just accept that. And of course, more importantly, this means that when I'm laying out my town and the steel factory here, I can take this into account of the layout. So we're definitely going to have to get rid of this mound here. I can't afford to waste that space there. We're back to 91,000, so I think we can just keep the asphalting going. So we're just going to just push that through to there, and we'll assign you the job. What I would like to do is get right all the way out here and then asphalt up to the coal mines, because we're going to need to take workers up there, and probably would like to asphalt into here as well. Then of course eventually we will backtrack this way and do the asphalt. So how far away now? 515 days away. Nearly there, nearly there. We're up to the 1st of May. I mean, I'd like to start building in this connection as well, but it's 1.8 tons of steel. I think we could probably add that, and we're going to add it to both construction offices. I think I can afford the 1.8 tons of steel there. And what we got here was the connector up here. This is, yeah, I think we can start building in these as filler projects. I mean, this is a bit more expensive. See, this is 9 tons of steel. So we're just going to get back to here. We're down to 300 and odd work days left. We're keeping everything going. The money's flowing in. I just want to make sure I'm not selling fuel. How's the fuel situation? Fuel situation is good. You're empty. I did have a truck running around here. Where are you? Okay, want you back to this depot. You've done your job. You've emptied the silo. That's all there is to it. I mean, one thing we are going to need to think about with respect to this rail line is how we're actually going to build it. And we're going to need to be near steel. So what we may also put out here is a rail construction yard. But again, that's a little way down the line with respect to where I'm going at the moment. Certainly wouldn't mind that a little bit there. filled in case I forget it. So we got that area there. And now we got this road built here. How are we doing here? Okay, we're down to 60 odd days left on my power station. So that's good. Of course, what we're going to need to do is buy a bus to bring the workers out here to power my power station. But there is a problem which I will talk about once we've actually got this finished, and what will be the focus of the next video. So we'll just get here, 45 days, come on. And then of course we've probably taken a big dent because we've had to replace our electronics and components. Just have a quick look at that. Yeah, so if we go to imports, yeah, you can see the big spike for there. How's the steel here? I think we can afford to push up our steel a little bit because we're going to need steel for the next parts things to do. And there we are. We have completed our power plant, and just to get this working, we're going to buy a bus. So we have to come into here, and we're going to have to buy. I don't particularly want one with that much passengers on it. I want a mini bus. I think 60 passengers. I think 52 passengers will be enough. And I do want a dedicated bus to bring workers out to here to the coal-fired power station. So you're only going to load workers, and you're not going to load workers here, and you're going to unload workers here. So that is the power station built. Now there is a problem in the sense that at the moment the power into this area coming off of this junction here is still being imported. And if I actually switch this off, I'll do it very quickly just to show you. If I switch off the imports, so we go to export for argument's sake, if you come in here, you'll see that this building is about power supply, and probably more importantly, nor's this. And so we're just going to get that back to import before I cause too much damage. And the problem is that locally generated power will not move through this switch station. This is an import station. So what I've actually got to do now is switch this power line here and these power lines onto the local grid. And to do that, we're going to have to put some kind of switch here, which means I'm going to have to temporarily disconnect my gravel. But that's what I'm going to be doing in the next part. So this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. And hopefully we can make a bit more progress now I've got the power station up and running. And we can then, well, get our costs down, start laying out our new town here. I need to get this built. I also want to put in an oil refinery probably here so that we can start making our own more fuel and bitumen. But that's all for the next part. So until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.